That night, while 100 people laughed on my property, I was in the dark in my bedroom. I was not invited to my son's party. My name is Emily Carter. I am 58 years old. I inherited this ranch from my father. I worked it with these hands. I kept it standing when everyone said a single woman could not. And that night, my daughter-in-law posted a photo on social media with a phrase that went through me like a knife. Our house, our party, our family, our house, my ranch, my blood in every brick, in every fence, in every tree I planted when Michael was just a boy running barefoot through these yards. But I was not invited. I found out from a neighbor who called me confused. "Emily, did you organize that big party? It looks beautiful from the road." I did not organize anything. My son was turning 35. Linda, my daughter-in-law, decided to celebrate big. She rented white tents, hired a band, ordered a 3-tier cake, all on my land, all without asking me. I looked out my bedroom window. I saw the colored lights dancing among the trees. I heard the music, the laughter, the shouts of celebration. I recognized some voices, family, friends, people who greeted me at church every Sunday. No one knocked on my door. No one asked, "Where is Miss Emily?" I stayed there, sitting on the edge of my bed, hands on my knees. I was wearing my cotton robe and slippers. I had not dressed up. There was no reason to. No one was waiting for me. I thought about going down. I thought about going out the back door, walking to where everyone was and simply appearing, smiling, hugging my son, pretending everything was fine. But something inside me broke. It was not just the party. It was that phrase, our house. I grabbed my phone. I went to Linda's account. There was the photo. She and Michael hugging in front of the main entrance of the ranch with gold balloons behind them. 200 people had liked it, 50 comments, all congratulating them. What a beautiful house you have. What a blessed family. Linda, you are an incredible hostess. No one knew. No one knew that house was not theirs. I looked at the clock. 10 minutes past 11 at night. The party was just starting. The band was playing a country anthem and people were singing along. I stood up slowly. I walked down the dark hallway of my own house. I went down the stairs without making a noise. I crossed the kitchen. I went out to the service patio. There, next to the laundry area, is the generator room. My father installed it 30 years ago. I maintain it. I pay for the diesel. I know every wire, every fuse. I opened the metal door. The generator hummed constantly, powering the entire ranch. The party lights, the music, the microphone, everything. I put my hand on the main switch. I took a deep breath and turned it off. The silence was immediate. The music cut out. The lights went out. Shouts of surprise filled the night. Total darkness. I heard footsteps running, confused voices. Someone shouted, "The power is out," another said. "Look for candles." I stayed standing there in the doorway of the generator room with my white robe shining under the moonlight. And then, with a voice I did not know I still had, I screamed, "I want everyone off my ranch right now." The silence that followed was different. It was not surprise. It was fear. You did not ask my permission for this party. This is my house, my property. Everyone get out of here. I saw shadows moving in the dark. I heard whispers. A woman asked quietly, "Is that Michael's mom?" No one moved fast. I think they thought it was a joke, that at any moment I was going to laugh and turn the lights back on. But I did not. I stayed there firm, my heart beating so hard I could feel it in my ears. Then I heard Michael's footsteps. I would recognize them anywhere, fast, decisive. "Mom? Mom? What are you doing?" His voice sounded somewhere between scared and indignant. I did not answer immediately. I let the silence speak for me. I let everyone feel what I felt when I saw that photograph. What I felt not being invited to my only son's party on my own land. You know something? Sometimes we trust too much in those we love. We give them everything: house, land, name, respect, and one day you discover that for them, you no longer exist. Have you ever been disappointed by someone you loved? Tell me your story in the comments. I want to read it. Because what happened that night was just the beginning. What I discovered later made me understand that my son and daughter-in-law did not just want my ranch. They wanted to erase me. Michael came running to where I was. I could see his silhouette against the starry sky. He was wearing a white shirt that shone in the dark, the one I had ironed for him myself last week when he came to drop off his laundry. "Mom, what is happening? Why did you turn off the light?" His voice did not sound worried about me. It sounded annoyed. "I want everyone to leave, Michael. You did not ask me for permission to throw this party." Permission? "Mom, I live here. It is my house too." Those words hurt me more than the photograph. My house too. As if I were just a tenant. As if these 30 years taking care of every corner, paying every bill, planting every tree meant nothing. But I said nothing more that night. I let them leave. One by one, the guests began to leave. I heard engines starting. I saw car lights moving away down the dirt road. Some murmured, others laughed uncomfortably. No one said goodbye to me. Linda passed by me without looking at me. She was wearing a bright pink dress, high heels, her hair loose and curled. She looked beautiful, like the owner of everything. Michael left with her. He did not come in to say goodbye. He did not ask if I was okay. He simply got into his truck and they left. That night, I slept poorly. Or rather, I did not sleep. I stayed sitting on the main porch, wrapped in my shawl, watching the sunrise over the fields. And it was there, in that silence of dawn, when I began to remember how we got here. Because there was a time when Michael and I were one. My son was born on this ranch. I brought him into the world in the master bedroom, the same one where I now sleep alone, with the help of a midwife from town and my mother holding my hand. His father, David, was outside smoking cigarettes and walking in circles like a caged lion. When he heard Michael's first cry, he came running in, tears in his eyes, and held him as if he were made of glass. "He is just like you, Emily," he told me. "He has your forehead, your eyes." And he was right. Michael looked like me, not just physically, but also in his way of being. Quiet, observant. He liked to be with me in the kitchen while I made biscuits. He would sit on a little wooden stool and talk to me about everything, about school, about his friends, about his dreams. "Mom, when I grow up, I am going to take care of this ranch with you. We are going to have many animals, cows, horses, chickens, and we are going to sell eggs in town." I laughed. "Honey, that is a long time away. First you have to study. Why? You did not study that much, and look how pretty the ranch turned out." It was true. I only finished high school. My father, Robert Carter, was a hard but fair man. He inherited these lands from his father and his father from his. 3 generations taking care of this piece of the Midwest. When I was born, my father wanted a boy. He always wanted one. But my mother could only have me. A difficult birth that damaged her inside. The doctors said there would be no more children. My father never told me directly, but I knew it hurt him not to have a son to carry his last name, to continue the legacy. So I decided to be that son. I learned to ride a horse before I turned 10. I learned to fix fences, check cattle, negotiate prices at the market. My father took me with him everywhere. He taught me everything he knew. "Emily, the land does not forgive laziness. If you take care of it, it takes care of you. If you abandon it, it abandons you." I never abandoned this land, not even when I married David. David was from the city, from Chicago. He came to town because his uncle had a farm machinery business, and he came to help him during vacations. We met in the town square one Sunday after church. I was 23. He was 25. He was handsome, tall, dark-haired, with an easy smile. He knew how to talk nicely. He invited me for a lemonade on the porch, then for a walk, then to the movies. My father was not very convinced. "That boy is from the city, Emily. He does not know what it is to work the land. He is going to want to take you with him." "No, Dad. He already told me he wants to stay here, that he likes the ranch." And it was true. David stayed. We got married in the town church. It was a simple wedding, but beautiful. My mother made my dress. My father paid for the band. We danced until dawn. David moved to the ranch. At first, everything was perfect. He worked hard. He helped with the cattle. He learned to fix tractors. My father began to look at him with good eyes. "That boy turned out good, honey. He has strong hands." When Michael was born, David was the happiest man in the world. "Now, Robert," he told my father, "you have your heir. One more stays." My father smiled. It was one of the few times I saw him truly happy. Michael's first years were the best of my life. I remember everything. I remember his first steps in the yard, with David crouching down, waiting for him with open arms. I remember his first word, "Mom." I remember how he loved for me to sing to him before sleeping, always the same lullaby. I remember Sunday mornings when we all ate breakfast together on the porch, pot coffee, sweet bread, eggs and bacon. Michael sat on my lap and I gave him pieces of bread. I remember how my father carried him on his horse and showed him the limits of the property. "Look, Michael, all this is yours. Someday you are going to take care of it, like I took care of it, like your mom takes care of it." Michael looked serious, as if he understood the weight of those words. We were a family, a complete family. But life has strange ways of changing things. My father died when Michael was 8, a massive heart attack while checking a fence. We found him lying under an oak tree, his hat to one side, and his hands still gripping the wire. It was the first great pain of my life. The day of the funeral, the whole town came. Robert Carter was respected, loved, feared too by some, but respected. He left the ranch in my name, everything. The 300 acres, the house, the cattle, the water rights, all for me. Not for David, for me. My father made it very clear in his will that the property was mine, and after me, it would be Michael's. "David is a good man," he told my mother before dying, "but this land belongs to the Carters. Emily knows how to take care of it. She will decide what to do when I am gone. David never claimed anything from me. On the contrary, your father was right, Emily. You know more about this than I do. I help you, but you are the boss." And so it was for years. I managed. He worked. Michael grew. Everything worked. My mother died 3 years after my father, cancer. She went slowly, consuming herself like a candle. She passed the last months in her bedroom, looking out the window toward the field where she had walked with my father so many times. "Take care of Michael," she told me one afternoon, her voice barely a whisper. "Take care that he does not lose this, that he does not forget where he comes from." "He will not forget, Mom. I promise you." I took her hand. It was cold, so thin I could feel all the little bones. "And take care of yourself too, honey. Do not let yourself go. The land is strong, but a woman alone can get tired." I did not understand those words then. I understand them now. When Michael turned 15, he began to change. He was not bad. He did not get into trouble. But he was no longer the boy who sat with me in the kitchen to talk. He wanted to go to parties, go out with friends. He spent more time in town than at the ranch. David said it was normal. "Let him be, Emily. It is the age. It will pass." To me, but it did not pass. At 18, Michael told me he wanted to study a career, business administration, in Chicago. "Mom, I need to get out of here. See other things. Learn new things." "And the ranch, son? I am not going to forget the ranch, but I want to study. Afterward, I will come back and help you make this grow. We can make a bigger business, sell organic products, do rural tourism." He had ideas, good ideas. I told him yes. David and I paid for his degree. We rented a small apartment in the city. We went to visit him every month. Michael came on vacations and long weekends. But he came less and less, and when he came, he was no longer the same. He wore different clothes. He spoke differently. He had friends he never introduced to us. Mom, you would not know them. They are from the university. As if we were less, as if the ranch was less. David began to get sick when Michael was in his 3rd semester. At first it was small things, fatigue, back pain. We thought it was age, hard work, but then came the dizziness, the nausea, weight loss. I took him to the doctor. Pancreatic cancer, advanced stage. The doctor gave us 6 months. He did not even make it to 4. David died on a Tuesday in April with the window open and the song of birds entering the bedroom. I was lying next to him, holding his hand. His last words were, "Forgive me, Emily. I could not give you more children. I could not help you more with the ranch. Do not say that. You gave me Michael. You gave me good years. That is enough." He closed his eyes and left. Just like that. That simple. That terrible. Michael arrived that night from the city. He cried. He hugged his father's body. He was with me at the wake, at the funeral, at the burial, but a week later he went back to the city. "Mom, I have to finish the semester. I already missed many classes. I promise I will come more often." He did not come more often. He came less. And I was left alone on this ranch, alone with the memories, alone with the land, alone. You know something? While telling all this, I thought about where you might be listening to me. In your house, maybe, making dinner, or driving, or lying down before sleeping. I would like to know. Write the name of your city in the comments. It makes me feel less alone knowing someone is listening to me. Because what comes after this, what happened when Michael met Linda, that was when everything really began to break. Michael met Linda in his last year of university. He told me over the phone one October afternoon. I was in the kitchen making apple preserves, as I did every year around that time. The sweet smell filled the whole house. "Mom, I met someone." His voice sounded different, excited, nervous. "Oh yes, son." "What is her name?" "Linda. She is from the city. She studies interior design. She is incredible, Mom. I want you to meet her." I was happy for him. I really was happy. My son had been so sad after his father's death, so lost. I prayed every night for him to find something that would make him happy again. "Of course, son. Bring her whenever you want. This is always your house." "Thanks, Mom. You are going to love her? You will see." He hung up. I kept cutting the apples, putting sugar in the pot, stirring slowly. But something inside me felt strange. I could not explain it. It was like when the sky turns a certain color before a storm. There are no clouds yet, but the air changes. Michael brought Linda 2 weeks later. They arrived on a Saturday afternoon in the truck we had bought him, so he could come visit us easier. A white pickup, brand new. Michael loved it more than anything. I waited for them on the porch. I had put on my navy blue dress, the Sunday one. I put my hair up in a bun. I wanted to look presentable. I wanted my son's girlfriend to see that her mother-in-law was a dignified woman. I heard the engine. I saw the dust the truck kicked up down the dirt road. My heart was beating fast. I was nervous like a teenager. Michael got down first. He was wearing jeans and a plaid shirt. He looked handsome, older. He was a man now. "Mom!" He ran to hug me. He smelled of expensive cologne. City smell. "Son, what a joy to see you. I brought you someone very special." He turned to the truck and signaled her. The door opened, and Linda got out. She was pretty, very pretty. Thin, tall, with long, straight hair, mahogany color, pale skin, lips painted bright pink. She was wearing a short denim dress and high-heeled sandals that sank into the dirt with every step. She walked toward me with a perfect smile. "Mrs. Carter, what a pleasure to meet you. Michael has told me so much about you." She extended her hand, a soft hand, no calluses, with nails perfectly painted nude. I shook it. My hand, tanned by work, looked like another species next to hers. "The pleasure is mine, Linda. Welcome. Oh, what a beautiful estate. Michael told me it was big, but I did not imagine it was like this. It feels like being in a movie." She laughed, a sharp musical laugh. Michael looked at her as if she were a miracle. "Come in. I already prepared something to eat. You must be hungry from the road." "Oh, Mrs. Carter, you should not have bothered." "It is no bother. He is my son." We entered the house. Linda was looking at everything. The thick brick walls, the high ceilings with wooden beams, the antique furniture that had been my grandmother's, the porch with its pots of geraniums, the kitchen with its wood stove and large pine table. How authentic everything is. I love this rustic style. It has a lot of potential. Potential? I said nothing. I served the food. I had made pot roast, my mother's recipe, which she taught me to prepare when I was 12. It takes hours to get it just right. I served it with mashed potatoes, green beans, and fresh biscuits. Michael served himself as always, filling his plate to the edge. "Mom, nobody makes roast like you." I told Linda she had to try it. Linda served herself very little. A spoonful of meat, 2 of potatoes, no beans. "It is just that I am on a diet," she explained, smiling, "but it looks delicious." She tried a bite. It is good, although it is a bit heavy for me." "Heavy. My roast is not heavy. It has flavor, yes, herbs, spices. It is deep, complex. Do you want water, honey?" "Oh, yes, please." "Do you have bottled water?" "I have well water. It is fresh, very good." "Ah, well, that is fine," Michael intervened quickly. "Linda has a sensitive stomach, Mom. The doctor told her she better drink bottled water when she travels." "I understand. I will go to town right now and buy some." "No, do not worry, Mrs. Carter. With a soda is fine." She drank a Diet Coke. During the meal, Linda talked a lot. She talked about her career, her classes, a project she was doing to remodel a restaurant in the city, her friends, the places she liked to go on weekends. She talked about everything except me. She asked nothing about the ranch, nothing about what our life was like here, nothing about my family. She only talked about herself. And Michael listened to her, spellbound. After eating, I showed them the property. We walked by the corrals. I showed them the cows, the horses, the chickens. Linda walked carefully, avoiding stepping where there was mud or manure. "Oh, what a smell," she said, covering her nose when we passed the stable. "They are animals, honey. That is how they smell." "Yes, I know. But it is strong, right?" "Michael, did you grow up with this smell every day?" Michael laughed uncomfortably. "One gets used to it." "Oh, no, I could not. I would need many scented candles." We kept walking. I showed her the orchard, the fruit trees, the old well, the small chapel where my father prayed every day. Linda took photos with her phone. "This is incredible for Instagram. Michael, take a picture of me here." She stood and studied poses. Perfect smile, hand on hip, hair arranged. "Will you take another?" I came out with my eyes closed. Michael took photos of her. 1, 2, 10, 20. I watched them from afar, and for the first time in years, I felt old. That night, we had dinner on the porch. I had prepared grilled cheese sandwiches and a chicken soup with vegetables. Simpler things. I thought maybe Linda would prefer it that way. She ate a little more than at lunch. After dinner, Michael helped me clear the plates. Linda stayed seated, checking her phone. In the kitchen, Michael hugged me. "What do you think, Mom? She is very pretty, son. Right? She's the most beautiful woman I have ever met. She really loves you, and I love her." "Mom, I think she is the one. Seriously, I think she is the woman of my life." I stroked his hair like when he was a boy. "Then I am happy for you." "Really? Do you like her?" I hesitated a second. Only a second. But Michael noticed. "What is it?" "Nothing, son. It is just that I barely know her. I need time. You will see that you are going to love her when you know her better. She is incredible. She is smart, hardworking, she has many dreams. She wants to start her own design business, and she supports me in everything. I am glad, son. Truly. But something inside me was not glad. Something inside me was scared. As they stayed to sleep that night. I gave them the guest bedroom, the one with a view of the garden. I put clean sheets, new towels, fresh flowers on the nightstand. Linda entered and looked at everything with an evaluating face. "Oh, Mrs. Carter, how nice. Although it is a bit hot, isn't it? Is there no air conditioning?" "No, honey. But you open the window and fresh air comes in. And I have a fan." "Ah, okay. I guess it is just one night." Michael apologized for her with his eyes. I went to my bedroom. I could not sleep. I stayed lying down, looking at the ceiling, listening to the crickets outside. And I remembered something my mother told me once when I was about 20 and had brought home a friend from school who spent the whole time criticizing everything we had. "Emily, there are people who do not know how to be grateful, who do not know how to see value, who only see what they lack. Be careful with those people. Do not let them make you feel less." At that moment, I did not understand why she told me that. Now I understand. The next morning, I prepared a big breakfast. Pancakes, scrambled eggs, bacon, toast, pot coffee, freshly squeezed orange juice. Michael came down first. "It smells delicious, Mom. Sit down, son. Everything is ready." Linda came down 20 minutes later. She was wearing a sports outfit, tight leggings, sports top, white sneakers, hair tied in a high ponytail. "Good morning, Mrs. Carter. Do you have yogurt and fruit? It is just that I eat a light breakfast. I have fruit, melon, watermelon, apples. Shall I fix you a bowl?" "Yes, please, but without much sugar. Fruit has no added sugar, honey. It is natural." "Yes, but fruit has fructose. It is sugar in the end." Michael intervened again. "Linda is very careful with her diet, Mom. She is training for a half marathon. That is great, honey. It is important to take care of yourself. I served her a bowl with chopped fruit." Linda ate with her phone in her hand, checking notifications. Michael devoured his pancakes. "Mom, this is so good." "Right, babe." Linda looked up from the phone. "What?" "That my mom's food is the best." "Ah, yes, it is fine." She continued with her phone. "After breakfast, she told me she wanted to see more of the ranch. Michael told me that your father left you all this. It must be a lot of work to maintain it, right?" "Yes, it is work, but I do it with pleasure. It is my heritage, my legacy." "And how many acres are there?" 300. She opened her eyes. 300? And it is all yours?" "Yes." "Wow, that must be worth a lot of money." Michael got uncomfortable. "Linda, we do not talk about that." "Why not? It is a normal question. Besides, someday it will be yours, right?" I stayed silent. She continued. "It is just that I was thinking. This property has so much potential. You could make a boutique hotel or an event venue. Ranches are very fashionable right now for weddings. You make a lot of money with that. This is not a ranch for events, honey. It is a home, a family house. Yes, but it can also be a business. Michael and I were talking about that. When we finish our degrees, we could move here and start a project. Right, babe?" Michael nodded but did not look me in the eyes. And that was when I felt the first fracture. Small, almost invisible, like when a cup falls but does not break. Only a thin line is made that is barely noticeable, but it is there. And with time, that line becomes a crack, and the crack becomes a break, and the cup ends up in pieces. They left that Sunday afternoon. Michael hugged me long. "Thanks for everything, Mom. For having us. For the food. For everything. You do not have to thank me, son. This is your house." "I know. And I know Linda and you are going to get along very well. You just need to know each other more." "Yes, son. Sure." Linda gave me a kiss on the cheek. "Thanks, Mrs. Carter. See you soon. And think about what I told you, okay? About the business. Seriously, it has a lot of potential." She smiled. They got into the truck. They left. I stayed standing on the porch, watching them drive away, and for the first time since David's death, I felt completely alone. It was not the loneliness of being physically alone. It was another loneliness. The loneliness of realizing that your son no longer sees you the same, that there is someone else influencing his decisions, that things are never going to be like before. I went into the house, I picked up the towels they had used, I washed the dishes, I swept, I mopped. And while I did all that, a phrase would not leave my head. Someday it will be yours, right? That is what Linda had said, as if I were already dead, as if this house were already theirs, as if I were only occupying a space that did not belong to me. That night I sat on the porch with a cup of chamomile tea. I looked at the stars. I heard the crickets. I felt the fresh night air, and I remembered my father's words. Emily, this land is yours. Never let anyone take it from you. Not for love, not for pity, not for exhaustion. This land is your name. It is your blood. It is who you are. I wondered if he had known that someday I would need to remember those words, if he had seen something in the future that I could not see yet, or if he simply knew that life always tests what we love most. I still did not know that Linda would return, that Michael would begin to change, that words would become demands, that plans would become pressures, that my own house would begin to feel like enemy territory. I still did not know. But that night, without understanding why, I cried. I cried for everything that was to come. I cried for the family we were, and for the family we would never be again. 3 months passed without seeing Michael. He called me every week. Yes, but they were short calls, rushed. Hi, Mom, how are you? Good, son. And you? Good, good. Lots of school. Many final projects. You know, when are you coming? Soon, Mom, I promise soon. But he did not come. And when I asked about Linda, his voice changed. He became more animated. She is very well. Super busy with school, too. She sends greetings. Greetings. She never got on the phone herself. She never called me. But I tried not to think much about that. Give her time, I told myself. They are young. They are busy. It is normal. I concentrated on the ranch work. November is harvest season. We had to harvest the corn, prepare the feed for the cattle, check the roofs before the winter rains started. I hired 2 boys from town to help me. Ray and his cousin Joe, good workers, quiet, respectful. We got up before dawn. We worked until the sun set. We ate dinner together in the kitchen. I prepared something abundant because the work was hard, and then they went to their houses in town. The routine was good for me. It kept me busy. It helped me not think about the fact that my son had practically disappeared from my life. Michael returned in December. He did it without warning. I was in the orchard pruning the peach trees when I heard his truck engine. I took off my work gloves. I wiped the sweat from my forehead. I walked toward the entrance. Michael got out of the truck, but he did not come alone. Linda got out of the passenger side. My heart sank a little, although I tried not to show it. Mom! Michael hugged me. He smelled different, like expensive perfume that was not his. My son! What a surprise! You did not tell me you were coming. We wanted to give you a surprise. I separated from him and looked at Linda. She was wearing a white lace dress, gold sandals, loose hair with perfect waves. She wore big sunglasses that covered half her face. Hello, Mrs. Carter. She took off her glasses, and that was when I saw the ring, a diamond, big, shiny, on her left hand. Mom, Michael said, taking Linda's hand, we have something to tell you. My stomach tightened. Linda and I are getting married. The world stopped a second, only a second, but it stopped. Oh, my son, what news? Are you not happy? Of course I am. It is just that... You caught me by surprise. Linda smiled widely. I was also surprised. Michael proposed to me a week ago. It was super romantic. He took me to dinner at a rooftop restaurant at a hotel. There were candles, live music, everything. And when they brought dessert, there was the ring and a glass of champagne. She spoke fast, excited. Michael looked at her as if she were the only thing that existed in the world. Congratulations, I said. Congratulations to both of you. I hugged them. First Michael, then Linda. She felt rigid in my arms, as if hugging was not something that came natural to her. Come in, I will prepare you something to eat. No, Mom, we came to invite you to eat, to the restaurant in town, to celebrate. To the restaurant? Yes, we want to celebrate with you. It was strange. We never went to restaurants. We always ate at home. But I said nothing. Okay, let me change. I put on my navy blue dress again, the Sunday one. I brushed my hair. I put a little powder on my face and a touch of pale pink lipstick I almost never used. When I came down, Linda looked me up and down. She said nothing, but her expression said it all. We went to the only half-decent restaurant in town, Don Jose's, a tourist place with red and white checkered tablecloths, cowboy hats on the walls, and a country band that played on weekends. It was Friday. There was a band. We sat at a table by the window. The waiter came immediately. He knew Michael since he was a boy. "Mr. Michael, what a pleasure to see you. And Ms. Emily, how are you?" "Good, Tony, thanks. What can I get you to drink?" Michael ordered a beer. Linda ordered a margarita. I ordered an iced tea. Linda took out her phone and started taking photos of the place, of her ring, of her and Michael together. "Babe, take a picture of me with the band in the back. It is going to look precious for Instagram." Michael took the photo. Then he ordered food. I ordered a club sandwich. Michael ordered a steak. Linda ordered a Caesar salad, but without croutons, without Parmesan cheese, and with the dressing on the side, please. The waiter nodded, confused. When he left, Michael took my hand. "Mom, I know this is fast, but when you know it is the right person, you simply know. And Linda is the right person. When do you plan to get married?" "In June, after we graduate." "So soon?" Linda intervened. "It is just that we want to start our life together as soon as possible. We already have many plans. We're going to rent an apartment in the city while we find something better. Michael is going to look for a job in some company for his career. I am going to open my design business. And then, further ahead, well, we will see." "Further ahead, what?" They looked at each other. Michael spoke. "Well, we thought that maybe we could move to the ranch. Not immediately, but in a few years, when we have everything more established." There it was again. That idea, moving to the ranch. "The ranch is your house, son. It always has been. You can come whenever you want." "Yes, but we talk about moving, living there, doing projects, modernizing things a little." "Modernizing?" Linda perked up. "Yes, Mrs. Carter. It is just that the ranch is beautiful, but it needs many improvements. For example, the bathrooms are very old. They could be remodeled. And the kitchen, too. We could put in an island, new appliances, porcelain floors. And the porch would be incredible with some modern outdoor furniture, like rattan or something like that." She spoke as if it were already hers, as if I were no longer there. "The ranch is fine as it is," I said. "It is a traditional house. It does not need to be modern." "Oh, Mrs. Carter, but it is just that things change. Right now, everything is more functional, more practical. And besides, if we want to do a business there, well, it has to look good. It has to look Instagrammable. I do not want to do a business." Silence. Michael squeezed my hand. "Mom, they are just ideas. It is nothing sure. There is still a long time for that." "Yes," said Linda, "they are just ideas." But her tone said something else. It said, "This is going to happen, whether you like it or not." The food arrived. We ate in an uncomfortable silence. Well, they ate. I just moved the food on the plate. Suddenly, I was not hungry anymore. The band approached our table. "Any song for the couple?" Michael smiled. "Yes, play them." "Bless the Broken Road." A knot formed in my throat. That was David's favorite song, the one we sang together at parties, the one we played at his funeral. The band began to play. Michael hugged Linda. She leaned her head on his shoulder. They looked happy, in love, and I, sitting in front of them, felt completely out of place, like a stranger in my own son's life. When the song ended, Michael paid the band. $50. I had never seen Michael spend so much money on something like that. "Where did you get those $50, my son?" From work, Mom. I am tutoring guys from lower semesters. They pay me well. Ah, that is good. But something did not add up. Michael had never been good at saving money. It always went on outings, gas, meals with friends. Where had he gotten money for a diamond ring? For expensive meals? For bands? I did not ask. I did not want to seem nosy. I did not want Michael to think I doubted him. So I stayed quiet. I always stayed quiet. After eating, we went to the ranch. Linda wanted to show Michael some ideas she had. They walked through the whole house with a notebook and a pen. Linda was writing things down. Here we could knock down this wall and make a whole open space. This room would be perfect for a master suite with a walk-in closet and full bathroom. And this bedroom? Oh, this would be ideal for the baby room. She stopped. She looked at me. She smiled. Someday, right, Mrs. Carter? Someday? I repeated, but my voice sounded hollow. Michael was excited. Linda has a very good eye, Mom. She is a designer. She knows about this. Yes, son, I see. I followed behind them like a ghost, watching them plan changes in my own house, watching them imagine a future where I was clearly not included, or worse, where I was included only as a nuisance, as an obstacle, as someone to be tolerated until... I did not want to finish that thought. They stayed to sleep again. This time, Linda did not complain about the heat or the fan. This time, she entered the guest bedroom as if it were hers. That night, when everyone slept, I went out to the porch. I sat in my rocking chair, the same rocking chair where my mother sat to knit, the same one where my father sat to smoke his cigar after dinner, the same one where I sat to rock Michael when he was a baby. I looked at the moon. It was almost full, silver, beautiful. And I thought about all the times my mother warned me about letting myself be trampled, about not saying what I felt, about keeping things to myself to not make waves. Emily, you are always so quiet, so enduring. One day you are going to get tired of enduring, and it will be too late. But I did not know how not to endure. I did not know how to set boundaries. I did not know how to say, I do not like this. This hurts me. This is hurting me. All my life I had been like this, quiet, obedient, compliant. First with my father, because he was my father, and fathers are respected. Then with David, because he was my husband, and husbands are supported. Now with Michael, because he was my son, and children are sacred. But me? When did I respect myself? When did I support myself? When was I sacred? I had no answer, so I did what I always did: swallow everything, smile, endure. The next morning, I prepared breakfast: scrambled eggs with peppers and onions, beans, biscuits, coffee. Michael came down first. He looked happy, rested. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, my son. Did you sleep well? Super well, like I always sleep here. He sat at the table. I served his plate. Mom, I want to ask you something. Tell me. Linda and I were talking, and we would like to have the wedding here at the ranch. I stopped dead. Here? Yes, it would be perfect. Outdoors in the garden with the mountains in the background. It would be a beautiful wedding. My son, a wedding is a lot of work, a lot of money, a lot of people. I know, but it would not be until June. We have time to prepare everything, and Linda is willing to help with the planning. In fact, she is already super excited with the idea. Did you already propose it to her? Yes, last night. She loved the idea. So he was not asking me. He was informing me. They had already decided. Michael, I do not know if it is a good idea. Why not? Because this house is not prepared for big events. Because the dirt road gets very ugly when it rains. Because there are not enough bathrooms. Because... Mom, please, it is my wedding. It is the only thing I'm going to ask of you. Just this day. Afterward, I will not bother you with anything. Just this day. As if I were the one being difficult. As if I were the one denying something unjustly. How many guests would it be? About 200. 200? Yes, family, friends, classmates from Linda's school and mine. I did not know any of those people. My son. Mom, please, I ask you from my heart. It means a lot to me. To us. He looked at me with those eyes, the same eyes he made when he was 5 and wanted me to buy him a candy at the store. The same eyes he made when he was 10 and wanted me to let him go, sleep at a friend's house. The same eyes that always convinced me. I sighed. Okay? Seriously? Yes. You can have the wedding here. Michael stood up and hugged me tight. Thanks, Mom. Thanks. You are not going to regret it. It is going to be the most beautiful wedding you have ever seen. Linda came down at that moment. Did you tell her? Yes. She said yes. Linda screamed with emotion. She ran to me and hugged me. Oh, Mrs. Carter. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I promise you it is going to look incredible. It is going to be a day we will never forget. I smiled, but inside something broke a little more. That crack that had started months ago became deeper, and I did not even notice. Or maybe I did notice, but I did not want to see it, because if I saw it, I would have to do something, and doing something meant facing, and facing meant conflict, and conflict meant losing my son. So I did what I always did. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. While I tell all this, I ask myself what you would have done in my place. Would you have told your son no? Would you have set boundaries from the beginning? Or would you have done the same as me? Endure, give in, swallow, until you couldn't anymore. Write to me in the comments. Seriously, I want to know, because I still wonder if I did the right thing, or if I should have said no that day, if I should have stopped everything before it was too late, but I did not. And what came next? What happened in those months before the wedding, that was when I began to open my eyes for real. The months that followed were crazy. Linda came to the ranch every 2 weeks, always with new ideas, always with plans, always with lists. Mrs. Carter, we need to hire someone to clean the garden completely, to prune all the trees, to remove the weeds, to paint the benches. Mrs. Carter, we have to fix the dirt road, put gravel at least. The guests cannot arrive with their dirty cars. Mrs. Carter, the bathrooms need an urgent remodel. At least we have to change the toilets and put in more modern sinks. Mrs. Carter, this. Mrs. Carter, that. Never, Miss Emily, with respect. Never, what do you think, with consideration. Always orders disguised as suggestions. And Michael, always on her side. Mom, Linda is right. We have to fix things. It is our wedding. We want everything to look good. Our wedding. As if I were not part of that hour. I started hiring people. Gardeners, bricklayers, painters, plumbers. I spent money I had not planned to spend. Money from my savings, from the sale of cattle, from the few incomes left from the harvest. All so that the ranch looked presentable for Linda's guests. For people I did not know. For people who did not care. One afternoon in February, Linda arrived with a huge folder. Mrs. Carter, I come to show you the wedding plan. We sat in the dining room. She opened the folder. There were photos of other weddings, drawings, diagrams, lists of suppliers. Look, here we are going to put the main tent, white, with chiffon fabrics hanging from the ceiling. Here go the tables, 12 in total, with ivory tablecloths and centerpieces with roses and hydrangeas. Here is going to be the altar in front of the rose bushes. We are going to put an arch of natural flowers. And here, on this side, the dance floor. She pointed to places in my garden as if it were a chessboard. And the band? There will not be a band. There will be a DJ. A band is very tacky. Tacky. My wedding had a band. My parents' wedding had a band. All the weddings I knew had a band. But I said nothing. And the food? Ah, that is the best. I hired a catering service from the city. Super elegant. They are going to make a 3-course dinner. Appetizer, main course, and dessert. all gourmet. Gourmet? Yes. No barbecue or pot roast or those heavy things. It is going to be fine food. Beef carpaccio, salmon with risotto, things like that. Linda, the people here do not like that type of food. They are used to something else. That is why, Mrs. Carter, we have to educate the palate. Let them know new things. Educate the palate. As if the food of my land was inferior, as if what I had cooked all my life was worth nothing. And how much does all this cost? Linda smiled. Do not worry about that. Michael and I are going to pay most of it. We just need you to provide the ranch and maybe help with some small expenses, like the rental of chairs, tables, things like that. How much is that? About $10,000. My breath left me. $10,000. That was what I earned in 6 months of hard work. Linda, I do not have $10,000. Her smile froze. What do you mean you do not? I do not. The ranch does not make that much money. It barely covers expenses. But Michael told me you had savings. I have savings, yes, but they are for emergencies, for the vet, for repairs. Mrs. Carter, your son's wedding is an emergency. The way she said it, cold, hard, as if I were being selfish. I will see what I can do, I said finally. Thanks, Mrs. Carter. I knew we could count on you. She got up, gathered her folder, left. She did not even stay for coffee. She did not even ask how I was. She only came to ask for money. That night I called Michael. Son, I need to talk to you. Tell me, Mom, but fast because I am going out with Linda. It is about the wedding. Linda says you need $10,000 from me. Ah, yes, it is just that those are expenses we cannot cover. But it is not that much, Mom. You have your savings. Those savings are for emergencies, Michael. This is an emergency. It is my wedding. I am only going to get married once. But son, Mom, please do not do this to me. Do not make me feel guilty for wanting to have a nice wedding. Linda is already super stressed with everything. I do not want her to think that my family does not support her. Your family, as if I were the enemy. Okay, son, I will see how I do it. Thanks, Mom. I knew I could count on you. I love you a lot. He hung up. I stayed with the phone in my hand, and I cried. I cried because I was giving everything, my house, my money, my peace, and still I felt it was not enough. The following week, I went to the bank. I took $10,000 from my savings. I watched my account stay almost at zero. I gave the money to Linda. She did not even thank me. She just said, "Perfect. Now we can move forward with everything." And she kept checking her phone. March came with a lot of work. The gardeners came every day. They cut trees that had been there since before I was born. They pulled up flowers my mother had planted. They put in new grass that was not native and needed a lot of water. The bricklayers remodeled the bathrooms. They threw out the antique tiles my father had placed with his own hands. They put in white ceramic, cold, without personality. The painters painted the whole house. Linda chose the colors, white, all white. It is more elegant, she said. The walls that had been mustard, terracotta, sky blue were now white. The ranch no longer looked like the ranch. It looked like a hotel, cold, impersonal, perfect for Instagram. But it was no longer my home. One day in April, while the painters were working, I decided to go to town. I needed to get out of there. I needed air. I needed to be away from the noise, the sawdust, the smell of paint. I went to Mrs. Betty's general store, a small shop where they sold a little of everything. I had known Betty since I was a girl. She was my mother's friend. Emily, what a miracle to see you here. Oh, Betty, I come fleeing from my own house. I laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. I heard your son is getting married. How exciting. And how is everything? Well, there we go, with many preparations. Betty looked at me intently. And how are you? Something in her tone disarmed me. It was not gossipy curiosity, it was genuine concern. Tired, I admitted. You look tired. Sit down. I will make you a coffee. I sat in an old chair next to the counter. Betty brought me a pot coffee, hot, sweet, with a touch of cinnamon. Did you get to know the girl well? Yes, Linda, she is different. Different good or different bad? I did not know what to answer. Betty sat next to me. Look, Emily, I do not get into anyone's life, but I have known you since you were a brat, and I see you worried, sad, as if you were carrying something very heavy. It is just that. I do not know, Betty. I feel like I do not recognize my son anymore. I feel like that girl changed him, or maybe he was always like that and you did not want to see it. Her words fell on me like cold water. What do you mean? That sometimes we give so much to our children that they get used to it. They believe everything belongs to them, that everything is owed to them. And when you do not give them what they want, they get angry, as if you were the bad one. I looked down. Betty was right. Do you know what my mom told me when I got married? She continued. She told me, Betty, in marriage, do not lose yourself. Do not become so much a wife, so much a mother, so much a daughter-in-law that you forget who you are. And I did not listen to her. I lost myself. I became everything to everyone, and when I wanted to recover myself, it was too late. I got divorced. My children barely talked to me. And here I am, alone, in this store. She took my hand. Do not do the same, Emily. Do not lose yourself. We stayed in silence, drinking coffee. Two tired women. Two women who had given too much. When I returned to the ranch, it was almost night. I saw movement in the house. Lights on in places where there should not be lights. I entered. Michael and Linda were in the master bedroom. My bedroom. They had boxes. They were packing things. What are you doing? Michael turned around. Oh, Mom, we were just going to talk to you about this. About what? Linda spoke. Mrs. Carter, it is just that this bedroom is the biggest, the one with the best view, and we thought it would be perfect for the bridal suite. Bridal suite? Yes. The day of the wedding, Michael and I are going to stay here. And later, when we come to visit, well, this is going to be our bedroom. This is my bedroom. I know, Mrs. Carter. That is why we are packing your things. We can move them to the room next door. It is smaller, but it is still fine. Besides, you do not need so much space. I froze. I could not believe what I was hearing. Michael, do you agree with this? My son did not look me in the eyes. Mom, it is just a bedroom. It is not a big deal. It is not just a bedroom. It is the bedroom where your father was born, where my parents died, where I have slept all my life. Mom, please do not be dramatic. Dramatic? Out of my bedroom. Both of you. Now. My voice came out stronger than I expected. Linda jumped. Michael got serious. Mom, out. Leave my things where they are and get out of here. Linda grabbed her bag. Whatever you want, Mrs. Carter, but I do not understand why you get like this. We are only trying to help. She left the room. Michael stayed standing in front of me. Why did you talk to her like that? Because she is crossing the line, Michael, and you are letting her. It is called making compromises, Mom. Giving in. Sharing. I have given in. I have shared. I have given everything I have. And what have I received in exchange? Nothing. Only demands. Demands? I am asking you to let me use a bedroom. It is not just the bedroom, Michael. It is everything. It is my house. It is my money. It is my life. You are taking it all. No one is taking anything from you. You are exaggerating. I am not exaggerating. I am opening my eyes. We stood looking at each other. For the first time in months, I held my son's gaze, and what I saw there scared me. I did not see the boy I carried in my arms. I did not see the teenager who hugged me before going to school. I saw a man who no longer recognized me, who no longer respected me, who only saw me as an obstacle. Michael left the room without saying anything else. I heard the front door open and close. I heard the truck engine starting. I heard them driving away. And I sat on my bed, in my bedroom, and I cried like I hadn't cried in years. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stayed awake, looking at the ceiling, thinking about everything, about how I had reached this point, about how I had allowed this to happen, about all the times I said yes when I wanted to say no, about all the times I swallowed anger to keep the peace, about all the times I made myself small so others would feel big. And I understood something. I understood that my silence had not bought peace. It had bought my own destruction. The next morning, I found something. I was cleaning the living room when I saw Linda's notebook. She had forgotten it when they ran out. It was open on the dining room table. I did not want to read it. It was not right. But something pulled me. I got closer, and I read, List of changes post-wedding. 1. Remodel complete kitchen. 2. Knock down wall between living room and dining room. 3. Build pool in backyard. 2. Change floors of entire house. 5. Sell cattle and convert stables into lofts for rent. 6. Speak with lawyers about deeds. Deeds. The word hit me. They wanted the deeds. They wanted me to put the property in Michael's name, or worse, in both their names. I kept reading. There was another page. Budget year 1. Complete remodeling, $80,000. Construction of tourist cabins, $150,000. Marketing and advertising, $20,000. Total $250,000. Sources of financing, sale of cattle and current machinery, $30,000. Bank loan with estate as collateral, $200,000. Personal savings, $20,000. Bank loan with estate as collateral. They wanted to mortgage my property. They wanted to risk the land my family had cared for over generations, to make a tourist business, without asking me, without considering me. Because for them, I was already dead, or at least I no longer mattered. I closed the notebook. My hands were trembling. My heart beat so fast I felt it was going to come out of my chest. And there, in that moment, something changed inside me. It was not a dramatic change. It was not an explosion. It was something quieter, deeper. It was realizing that I could not go on like this, that if I did not do something, they were going to take everything from me, not just the ranch, also my dignity, my identity, my reason for existing. I grabbed the notebook. I put it in my bedroom, in the drawer where I keep important documents, the deeds to the property, my father's will, birth certificates. And I waited. I waited for Michael to return. I waited for Linda to come for her notebook. I waited with the cold certainty that now I knew. I knew what they wanted. I knew how far they were willing to go. And I knew I had to defend myself, because no one else was going to do it for me. Michael returned 3 days later. He came alone, without Linda. He arrived as if nothing had happened, as if we hadn't fought, as if he hadn't told me that I was exaggerating. Hello, Mom. I was in the kitchen, preparing beans. I did not look up. Hello? Are you still angry? I am not angry, Michael. I am disappointed. Mom, stop. Do not get like that. I came to apologize. Now I looked at him. He was wearing a new shirt, expensive. One of those sold in the city malls, leather shoes, a watch I hadn't seen on him before. Where did you get money for those clothes? He got uncomfortable. Linda gave it to me. For the wedding. She wants me to look good. Ah. I kept stirring the beans. Michael sat at the table. Mom, I know things have gotten tense. I know Linda sometimes is intense, but she does it because she wants everything to come out perfect, because she loves me, because she wants to build a future with me. A future where? How? Where do you want to build that future? Here? At the ranch? Well, eventually, yes, we had already told you. Eventually. And what about me? You are still here, Mom. No one is kicking you out, but you are displacing me. We are not displacing you. We are just adapting things, modernizing, so that we can all live comfortably. Michael. I found Linda's notebook. He turned pale. What notebook? The one she forgot here. the one that has all her plans, her lists, her budgets. He stayed quiet. I saw everything, son. I saw that you want to mortgage the ranch, that you want to sell the cattle, that you want to change everything. Mom, they are just ideas, future plans. Nothing is decided. They have budgets, they have dates, they have financing sources. That does not sound like ideas. It sounds like decisions. He ran his hand through his hair, nervous. Okay, yes, we have plans. Plans to make a business here. But it is for good. So the ranch generates money, so you do not have to work so much, so we can all have a better life. I do not want a better life, Michael. I want my life. The one I have built, the one I inherited from my father, the one I have cared for all these years. And have you not thought about me? About my future? I do not want to live off the land. I do not want to spend my life planting corn and taking care of cows. I studied a career. I have other goals. Then go and fulfill them. But not with my property. It is my inheritance, Mom. There it was, the truth, what had always been underneath everything. Your inheritance, I repeated slowly. Is that what I am to you? An obstacle between you and your inheritance? I did not say that, you just said it. Michael stood up. He walked from one side of the kitchen to the other. Mom, you do not understand. Linda and I have dreams. We want to do big things, and this ranch can be the beginning. But you cling to everything as if the world hadn't changed. We are in the 21st century. Things are no longer done like your dad did them. My dad did things with dignity, with respect, without owing anything to anyone, and he died with nothing. He died with a property that barely gave enough to survive. Those words went through me like knives. Your grandfather died with honor, with his land free, with his name high. He did not owe any bank. He did not depend on any business. He did not have to smile at tourists to eat. Well, I do not want to live like that. I want more. More what, Michael? More money? More things? At the cost of what? At the cost of whatever is necessary. We stood looking at each other, and in that moment I saw him clearly. My son was no longer my son. He was another person, someone I did not know, someone I had not raised. Or maybe yes. Maybe I had raised him exactly like that, giving him everything, without asking him for anything, without teaching him the value of sacrifice, without showing him that important things are earned, not inherited. Maybe this monster I had in front of me was my fault. Go, I told him. What? Leave my house. Mom, go, Michael. Go with Linda. Go fulfill your dreams. But without me, without my land, without my blessing. You cannot be serious. I have never been more serious in my life. Michael grabbed his keys. You are making a mistake. You are pushing us away. And when you realize you were wrong, it will be too late. Maybe. But it will be my mistake, my decision, not yours. He left, slamming the door. The silence that remained afterward was deafening. I sat at the kitchen table. The beans had run out of water. They were stuck to the bottom of the pot. Ruined, like everything else. That night, no one came. Michael did not call. Linda did not call. Nothing. I stayed sitting on the porch with my shawl over my shoulders, watching the stars. And I thought about my father, about what he told me the day I turned 15. We were on horseback, riding the boundaries of the property. He on his brown mare, me on my painted horse. Emily, he told me, someday all this will be yours. And it will be difficult. Because people are going to want to take it from you. Some with bad intentions, others with good. But in the end, everyone is going to want your land. And you have to be strong. You have to know how to say no, even if it hurts, even if it costs you. Because if you lose this land, you lose your history. You lose who you are. At that moment, I was 15 years old. I understood nothing. I thought my dad was exaggerating. Now I was 58, and I understood perfectly. The following days were strange. I continued with my routine. I got up at dawn. I fed the animals. I watered the orchard. I cooked. I cleaned. But everything felt empty. There were no workers fixing things. There was no Linda giving orders. There was no Michael, just me, alone, again. A week after the fight, I received a call. It was a number I did not know. I answered. "Mrs. Emily Carter?" "Yes, it is me. This is lawyer Armand Williams from the legal firm Gonzalez and Associates. I am calling you on behalf of Michael Carter and Linda Sanchez." My blood froze. "What do you want?" "Mr. Carter and Ms. Sanchez have hired me to initiate a legal process of anticipated distribution of inheritance. According to what we are informed, you are the owner of a 300-acre estate in—" Stop right there. Anticipated distribution. What does that mean? It means your son is requesting that he be granted in advance the part of the inheritance that corresponds to him. It is a legal process contemplated in the Civil Code when— My son has no inheritance while I'm alive. Ma'am, I understand your annoyance, but you understand nothing. Tell my son that if he wants something from me, come and say it to my face, not to send lawyers. Ma'am, I suggest you also hire legal representation. This can— I hung up. My hands were shaking. My own son was suing me. He was taking me to court for my own land. That afternoon I went to town. I looked for the only lawyer I knew. Mr. Morales, an older man who had helped my father with some paperwork years ago. I told him everything. He listened to me in silence, taking notes from time to time. When I finished, he sighed. "Ms. Emily, legally your son does not have much basis. The property is in your name. You have no obligation to distribute anything while you are alive. And according to what you tell me, the deeds are clear. Everything is yours. So can he not take anything from me? He cannot take the property from you, but he can make your life impossible. He can start lawsuits that drag on for years. He can make you spend money on lawyers. He can wear you down emotionally. And what can I do? 2 things. First, do not sign anything. Nothing. Even if Michael comes crying, begging, threatening, do not sign any document. Second, make a will. Clear. Specific. Where you decide exactly what happens to the property when you are gone. I already have a will. My will says everything is for you and then for Michael, but you can change it. You can put conditions. You can even leave it to someone else if you decide so. The idea surprised me. Leave it to someone else? To whom? I had no more children. I had no siblings. My parents were dead. David was dead. Only Michael remained. But did that Michael deserve my land? Think about it, Miss Emily, and meanwhile we are going to respond to that lawyer. We are going to make it very clear to him that here there is nothing to distribute. I left the office with a huge weight on my chest. I walked through the streets of town aimlessly. I passed by the square. There were children playing, couples walking, holding hands, families sitting on benches, eating ice cream. Everyone seemed happy, everyone except me. I sat on a bench under an oak tree, and I cried. I cried because my son had betrayed me. I cried because the family I had built was crumbling. I cried because I was tired, so tired. An older lady sat next to me. She said nothing. She only took a clean handkerchief from her bag and gave it to me. "Thanks," I whispered. "You are welcome, honey. Whatever it is, it will pass. Everything passes. I do not know if this passes. Everything passes. The good and the bad. That is life." She stayed sitting next to me a while longer, in silence, just accompanying me. When she got up to leave, she told me, "You are not alone, honey. Even if you feel it, you are not alone." She left. I never knew her name, but her words stayed with me. You are not alone. That night, back at the ranch, I took out the property deeds. I put them on the dining room table. I read them completely. Every word, every clause. It was all there. My family's history, my great-grandfather's names, my grandfather, my father, and now mine. 4 generations caring for this land, working it, loving it, defending it, and now I was going to be the one to lose it? The one to hand it over to someone who only saw it as a business? No, it was not going to happen. I grabbed the deeds. I kept them in a safe. I had bought that same afternoon a small metal safe with a combination. I hid it in my bedroom closet, behind the old sheets, where no one would think to look, and I swore to myself, no one is going to take this from me. No one. 2 weeks later, the wedding date arrived, June, the month Michael and Linda had chosen, but there was no wedding anymore, not at my ranch, not with my blessing. Michael called me only once. Mom, you are still in time to fix this, to be reasonable. The wedding is in 2 weeks. We can forget everything that happened. Start over. Forget that you sued me. Mom, that was Linda's lawyer's idea. I did not want to reach that point. But you reached it. Because you left me no option. There are always options, Michael. You chose the worst one. Then there will be no wedding. Not at my house. Fine. Then we will do it somewhere else. And you are not invited. He hung up. I did not cry. I had no tears left. The day the wedding would have been, I stayed home, alone. I made a chicken soup, just for me. I sat on the porch. I ate slowly, looking at the garden they had fixed for a wedding that was never celebrated here. And I asked myself if I had done the right thing, if my dignity was worth losing my son, if defending my land was worth staying completely alone. I had no answer. I only had silence, and the cold certainty that things would never be like before. I still wonder if I did the right thing, if I should have given in one more time, if I should have signed what they wanted, if I should have let them take what was mine just to keep the peace. And you? What would you have done in my place? Would you have defended yours even if it cost you everything? Or would you have given in to not be left alone? Write to me. I need to know. Because what happened next, what I discovered in the following months, made me understand that this fight was just beginning, and that there were much worse things waiting for me. 3 months passed without knowing anything about Michael. 3 months of silence, not a call, not a message, nothing. It was as if he had died, or as if I had died to him. I continued with my life, with my routine, getting up early, taking care of animals, working the land, cooking for myself alone, sleeping alone. But everything felt hollow, like when you walk through an empty house and your steps sound too loud. That was my life, too silent, too empty. In September, Betty came to visit me. She brought sweet bread and coffee. She sat with me on the porch. "How are you, Emily?" "Here, surviving." "Did you know?" "Know what, that Michael got married?" My heart stopped. He got married. Yes. 2 weeks ago. It was a big wedding. At an event garden in the city. The gossip ran all the way here. And how did you find out? My niece works there. At the event garden. She showed me photos. She took out her phone. She showed me. There was Michael. He was wearing a gray suit. He looked handsome, happy, smiling. And by his side, Linda, with a huge white dress, long veil, bouquet of white roses. Perfect. There were more photos, the ceremony, the guests, the cake, the party. Everything that would have been at my ranch. But it was not. It was somewhere else. Without me. I am sorry, Emily. I thought you should know. Thanks, Betty. I stayed looking at the photos. My son had married, and I was not there. He did not invite me. He did not look for me. He did not care. Betty took my hand. It is not your fault. Then whose is it? His, hers, life's. I do not know, but it is not your fault. We stayed sitting in silence, drinking coffee, eating sweet bread, 2 women who had lost too much. That night I could not sleep. I stayed awake, looking at the photos again and again. Michael looked so happy, so complete, as if he lacked nothing, as if I was not missing, and I asked myself, when did I stop being important to him? Was it when he met Linda? Was it when he went to study? Was it when his father died? Or was it always like this, and I did not want to see it? Maybe my son never needed me as much as I believed. Maybe I was the one who clung on, the one who did not know how to let go, the one who made her son her whole life. And when he wanted to have his own life, I did not know where to stay. In October, the first bank letter arrived. It was a white envelope, formal, with the bank logo. I opened it. Dear Mrs. Carter, by means of the present, we inform you that a mortgage credit application process has been initiated on the property located at the estate. I read the rest with trembling hands. Michael had requested a loan using the ranch as collateral, $200,000. The bank was requesting my signature as legal owner. If I did not sign in 30 days, the bank would proceed to... I did not finish reading. I called Lawyer Morales. Ms. Emily, this is serious. Do not sign anything. Absolutely nothing. But we need to act fast. What do I do? We're going to send a letter to the bank notifying them that you did not authorize that request, that the property is not available as collateral, and we are going to start a patrimonial protection process. What is that? It is a legal lock, so that no one can do anything with your property without your consent. Not sell it, not mortgage it, not transfer it. Do whatever is necessary. 2 weeks later, Michael appeared at the ranch. He arrived in the afternoon, alone, without Linda. He was wearing jeans and a white shirt. He looked tired, dark circles under his eyes. He knocked on the door. I was in the kitchen. I heard the knocks, but I did not move. He knocked again. Mom, I know you are there. I need to talk to you. I waited. Please, Mom, just 5 minutes. I opened the door. We stood looking at each other. He looked different, thinner, paler, as if he wasn't sleeping well. Come in. We entered. We sat in the living room. The silence was heavy. I came to ask for forgiveness, he said finally. I did not answer. Mom, I know I messed up. I know I did things wrong. I know I hurt you. Then why did you do it? Because Linda convinced me it was for the best, that you were being unfair, that you were clinging to something that no longer corresponded to you. Salvation from yourself? I repeated the words slowly. Yes. She said you were killing yourself working, that the ranch was a burden, that you deserved to rest, and that the only way for you to rest was for me to take control. Take control of my life? She did not put it like that, but yes, basically that. And you believed her? Yes, I believed her. Why? Because it was easier to believe her than to face you. Finally, the truth. Michael, your wife does not want to help me. She wants me out. She wants my land. She wants to turn this into a business, and you know it. I know. Then why do you stay with her? He ran his hands over his face. Because I love her, Mom. Because she is my wife. Because I made a commitment. And your commitment to me? The one you made when you were born? Does that one not count? It is not the same. You are right. It is not the same. I gave you life. She only gave you a ring. Michael looked down. I came to ask you to sign. What? The bank papers. We need that loan, Mom. We need the money to start the business, to make something of our lives. That business you are going to do with my property. It is my inheritance, not while I am alive. Then what do you want me to do? To stay with arms crossed? To do nothing with my life? To wait for you to die to be able to live? Those words, those damn words. Get out of my house. Mom, get out. Now. Mom, please, just think about it. Think about... Out! I screamed so loud that even I scared myself. Michael stood up. He walked toward the door. Before leaving, he turned. I am going to fight this, Mom, legally, with everything I have, because that land is also mine, and I am not going to let your stubbornness take what corresponds to me. Nothing corresponds to you. None of this is yours. The only thing you had was my love, and that you destroyed. No, that you destroyed when you decided that the land was more important than me." He left. The door closed, and I stayed there, standing in the middle of my living room, trembling, crying, breaking. That night was the longest of my life. I did not eat. I did not sleep. I did nothing. I just sat in my rocking chair on the porch, and I cried. I cried for everything. For my son who was no longer my son, for the family that had broken, for the years I dedicated to caring for him, loving him, protecting him, for the sleepless nights when he was sick, for the times I went without eating so he wouldn't lack anything, for all the love I gave. And that now was worth nothing. In November, Michael's lawyer sent another letter. This time, it was a formal lawsuit. They requested that my mental incapacity to administer the property be declared. They said I was senile, that I made irrational decisions, that I was putting the family patrimony at risk. Lawyer Morales was furious. "This is an outrage. They have no legal basis, but they are going to make you have to undergo medical exams, psychological evaluations. They are going to try to prove you are not in your faculties. Let them. Let them do whatever they want. I know who I am. Ms. Emily, this is not a game. If a judge determines that you cannot administer your assets, they are going to appoint a guardian, and that guardian is probably going to be Michael. Can they do that? Yes, if they prove there is cause. But I am perfectly fine. I know, and we are going to prove it. But it is going to be a long process, difficult, tiring. I do not care. I am going to fight. Are you sure? I have never been more sure of anything." December arrived cold, colder than normal. The nights were freezing. I had to sleep with 2 blankets. The days were gray, cloudy, as if even the sky were sad. I was still alone. Ray and Joe continued helping me with the ranch work, but at the end of the day, they left, and I stayed alone again. Betty came to visit me when she could. She brought me food, company, kind words, but it was not enough. Nothing was enough to fill the void Michael had left. The 24th of December was Christmas Eve. I always spent that night with Michael, since he was a boy. We ate dinner together, roast, pie, punch. We put up the nativity scene. We went to midnight mass. But not that year. That year, I stayed alone. I prepared a small dinner, just for me. A piece of roast, a little salad, a glass of punch. I sat at the table. I put an extra plate in front of me, the place where Michael always sat. I looked at it, empty, like my life. And in that moment, something broke inside me. It was not dramatic. It was not a loud cry. It was something deeper. It was accepting that I had lost my son, that the family I had built no longer existed, that everything I loved was gone, and that I had to learn to live with that. That night, after dinner, I went out to the patio. I looked at the stars. They were bright, clear, beautiful, and I spoke with my father. "Dad, I do not know if I did right. I do not know if defending this land was worth losing everything else, but it is the only thing I know how to do, the only thing you taught me, not to give up, not to give away what is mine, to have dignity, even if it hurts." The wind blew soft as if it were an answer. "I hope you are proud of me, because I do not know if I am." I entered the house. I locked all the doors. I turned off all the lights. I got into my bed, in my bedroom, in my house, on my land. And although I was completely alone, although I had lost everything I loved, although my heart was broken into 1,000 pieces, at least I still had my dignity. At least no one had taken that from me. At least I knew who I was. And that, in the middle of all the darkness, was something. It was the only thing I had left. But it was something. What I did not know that night, what I could not imagine, was that life had a very particular way of doing justice, that the things Michael and Linda did to me, the lies, the betrayals, the attempts to rob me, were going to return to them in ways they never expected, because life always collects its debts. Always. January arrived with a strange clarity, like when a storm passes and the air smells different. Cleaner, fresher. I felt different too. I was no longer angry. I was no longer sad. I was at peace. A cold peace, yes, but peace at last. I made a decision. I went to Lawyer Morales. I want to change my will. Are you sure? Completely. I sat in front of him. I took out a paper where I had written everything with my own hand. The ranch is not going to be for Michael. The lawyer raised his eyebrows. And for whom? For a foundation. One that cares for historic properties. That keeps them as they are. That does not turn them into businesses. Ms. Emily, I do not want my land to become a hotel. I do not want them to destroy it. I prefer it to be nobody's rather than someone's who does not respect it. Michael can fight that. Let him fight, but he is not going to win because the property is mine. And I decide. The lawyer nodded slowly. Okay, we are going to do it. February, Michael found out. I do not know how. Maybe his lawyer investigated. Maybe someone told him, but he found out. He arrived furious at the ranch, this time with Linda. They knocked on the door. They pounded. They shouted, "Mom, open! We need to talk!" I was inside, calm, drinking coffee. I did not open. "Mom, I know you are there. Open the damn door!" Linda shouted too. "Mrs. Carter, you cannot do this. It is illegal. That property belongs to Michael." I looked out the window. I saw them there. Desperate. Furious. Michael kicked the door. Linda was crying or pretending to cry. I was not sure. This is not going to stay like this. We are going to sue you. We are going to take everything from you. I laughed. I couldn't help it. I laughed. Because they could no longer take anything from me. They no longer had power over me. They left. But the legal war continued. Lawsuits, countersuits, hearings, medical exams. I went through everything. 3 different psychologists evaluated me. All 3 said the same. I was perfectly sane. They gave me memory tests, reasoning tests, mental capacity tests. I passed all of them. The judge reviewed the case and ruled in my favor. Mrs. Emily Carter is in full use of her mental faculties. She has the absolute right to dispose of her property as she sees fit. Michael lost. March. I did not hear from them for weeks until Betty came with news. "Emily, did you hear? What happened?" "Michael and Linda, they are in trouble." What kind of trouble? The business they were going to do, the one they needed your land to start. Well, they tried to do it anyway. They got a loan with another collateral, I do not know which, and it failed. They lost all the money. I stayed quiet, and there is more. It seems Linda borrowed money from her family, a lot of money, promising that the business was going to work, and now they cannot pay. And Michael? He lost his job. It seems he was absent a lot because of the business, and they fired him. I did not feel joy. I did not feel satisfaction. I only felt empty. Do you know where they are? Renting a small apartment, very small, in an ugly part of the city. I continued with my life, with my routine, with my land. But now there was something different. I had taken control. I had set boundaries. I had said, enough. And although it cost me everything, although I lost my son, although I was left alone, at least I stayed with myself, with my dignity intact, with my land free, with my name high, just as my father taught me. One afternoon in April, I was in the orchard pruning the peach trees. I heard a car. I looked out. It was Michael's truck, but it was coming slowly, without hurry. He parked. He got out alone. He walked toward me. He looked different, thinner, sadder, more humble. "Mom, Michael, can I talk to you?" "You are already talking. Can I sit down?" I pointed to a bench under a tree. We sat down. The silence lasted long. "You were right," he said finally. I did not answer. "You were right about everything. Linda. She only wanted your money, your property. She never cared about me. She never cared about the family. She only cared about making her business, being rich, having success. And you just realize that. Yes, I am an idiot. Yes, you are. He laughed bitterly. I lost everything, Mom. The money, the job, and soon I am going to lose Linda too. She already told me she is going to divorce, that I am a failure, that she deserves something better. I said nothing. And the worst is that I lost the most important thing. I lost you. He closed his eyes. Tears rolled down his cheeks. I am sorry, Mom. I am very sorry. I was a bad son, a terrible son. I betrayed you. I hurt you. I tried to take what was yours. And now I understand why you defended it so much. It was not just the land. It was your dignity, your history, your life. We stayed in silence. I looked at the horizon, the mountains, the sky, the fields I had worked all my life. Do you forgive me? He asked with a broken voice. I looked at him. My son, my only son, the boy I carried in my arms, that I fed, that I loved with all my heart. I do not know, Michael. I do not know if I can. I understand. He got up to leave. But I also do not know if I cannot do it, I added. He stopped. Time will tell. Time and your actions, not your words, your actions. He nodded. Thanks, Mom, for not closing the door completely. He left, and I stayed there, sitting under the tree, knowing I had done the right thing, that defending my dignity was not wrong, that setting boundaries was not selfishness, that saying no when it was necessary did not make me a bad mother. It made me a strong woman, a woman who knew her value, a woman who did not let herself be trampled, not even for love. A year passed, a year in which life took charge of putting things in their place, without me moving a finger, without me seeking revenge. Life simply collected. I found out everything through Betty, through town, through the gossip that arrived without me looking for it. Linda divorced Michael in July. She did not last even a year married. She went with another man, an older one, with money, with an established business, a real estate businessman from the city. She left Michael the debts, all of them, the loans they took out together, the credit cards, everything. She left as she arrived, Betty told me, with nothing. Well, no, she took everything she could. Michael had to sell the truck we bought him, the one he loved so much. He had to move to a rented room, no kitchen, no living room, just a bed and a shared bathroom. He worked in whatever he could. Delivery guy, waiter, helper in a hardware store. He was no longer Mr. Michael Carter, the licensed professional. He was just Michael, another boy trying to survive. Linda, for her part, did not fare much better. That businessman she left with turned out to be married. His wife found out. There was a scandal, shouts, blows, lawsuits. Linda ended up on the street, without the businessman, without money, without reputation. Her family, the one that had lent her money for the business that never worked, closed the doors on her. We do not want to know anything about you anymore. You embarrass us. She had to return to her mother, an older lady who lived in a small house on the outskirts of the city. Linda, the interior designer, the one who was going to be successful, the one who believed she owned the world. Now she cleaned other people's houses with the same hands that before only served to take photos for Instagram. Someone from town saw her. They told me. She was at the supermarket, Emily, buying the cheapest stuff, with old clothes, without makeup, without anything. She no longer looked like the girl we met. I did not feel pity, but I did not feel joy either. I only felt balance. Life collecting what is owed. Michael came to see me in September. He knocked on the door with humility. "Mom, can I come in?" I let him in. He sat at the kitchen table, the same place where he had eaten 1,000 times as a boy. "Do you want coffee?" "Yes, please." I served him. We stayed in silence for a while. "How are you?" I asked him. bad but alive. And Linda? She left. She divorced me. I guess you already knew. I heard rumors. He nodded. Mom, I come to tell you that you were right. In everything, Linda never loved me. She only wanted what you had, and I was so stupid I did not see it. Or I did not want to see it. Why did you not want to see it? Because it was easier to believe her lies than to face the truth. Because she made me feel important, successful, as if I were someone. You were always someone, Michael. You were my son. That was enough. Not for me. I wanted more. I wanted to be rich, important, admired, and I lost the only thing worth it. You. His voice broke. You once called me selfish. You called me stubborn. You said I only thought about myself. And now, years later, while I am alone in that horrible room, I see that same emptiness in my gaze, the same emptiness I saw in Linda's eyes when she left me. Life always collects its debts, Mom. Always. We stayed in silence. I drank my coffee slowly. He looked at his hands. Hands that now had calluses. Hands that now worked for real. What are you going to do now? I asked him. I do not know. Keep working. Pay the debts. Try to rebuild my life. But without tricks. Without shortcuts. Without trying to take anything from anyone. That is good. Do you think someday you can forgive me? I looked him in the eyes. I forgave you a long time ago, Michael. What I do not know is if you can forgive yourself. His eyes filled with tears. Every day I wake up with that question. Michael kept coming. Not often, once a month, sometimes every 2 months. But he came. He no longer asked for anything. He no longer demanded anything. He just came. To drink coffee, to talk, to help me with something when he could. It was not like before. It was never going to be like before. But it was something. A small connection. Thin as thread. But there it was. In December, another news arrived. Linda was sick. I do not know with what exactly. Something with the liver. Something serious. She needed treatment, expensive medicine, care. Her mother could no longer help. She was very old, very weak. Linda ended up in a public hospital, alone, without visitors, without money for a private room, in a bed shared with 5 other women, the one who once posted, "Our house, our party, our family," on my ranch. Now she was in a public hospital bed, alone, without a house, without a party, without family. Someone told me that Michael went to see her once, not for love, for pity. He brought her some money, the little he had, for her medicines. She did not even thank him. She just took the money and turned her face away. That was the last contact they had. I continued with my life, my ranch, my land, my routine. Ray and Joe continued helping me. Betty continued visiting me. Lawyer Morales became a friend, not just my lawyer. I started going to town more often, to church, to the market, to talk to people. I no longer felt so alone. I had found a different peace, a peace that did not depend on having family, a peace that came from knowing who I was, from knowing what I was worth, from knowing I had defended what was right. One afternoon in December, I was sitting on the porch, watching the sunset. The mountains were painted orange and purple. The air smelled of wet earth. The crickets began to sing, and I thought about everything that had happened, about everything I lost, about everything I gained, and I understood something. Life had not taken anything from me that was worth it. It had taken what was rotten, what was hurting me, what was consuming me. And although it hurt, although I cried, although I believed I was not going to survive, I survived, stronger, more free, more me. If my story helps a single woman to open her eyes, a single woman to defend herself, a single woman to know her value, it will have been worth it. All the pain, all the loneliness, all the sacrifice, it will have been worth it. Because I am Emily Carter. I am 59 years old, and this is my land. No one took it from me, and no one is going to take it from me. 2 years have passed since that night I turned off the generator. 2 years since I screamed in the darkness. 2 years since I decided I was no longer going to continue being invisible in my own life. Today I am 60 years old, and for the first time in a long time, I feel complete. The ranch is still mine. The deeds are kept in the safe. Secure, protected. My will is updated, clear, definitive. When I go, this land will not belong to anyone who sees it as a business. It will be for those who respect it, for those who understand that a house is not just walls and dirt. It is history. It is blood. It is memory. Michael still comes. Not much, but he comes. Now he works in a small company. He does accounting. Nothing glamorous, but it is honest. He pays his debts little by little, with effort, with humility. He no longer talks about millionaire businesses. He no longer brags. He no longer demands. Now he asks, "How are you, Mom? Do you need help with something? Can I stay to eat?" And I tell him yes, because although he hurt me, although he almost destroyed me, although he took years of peace from me, he is still my son. And a mother's love is not erased. It transforms, it adjusts, but it does not disappear. I never heard from Linda again. They say she left town, that she went to another state, that she is still sick, that she is still alone. I do not look for information. I do not ask. She is no longer a part of my story. It was just a dark chapter, painful, but finished. There are days when I ask myself what would have happened if I had given in, if I had signed the papers, if I had let them take the ranch, if I had chosen false peace over my dignity. Maybe Michael would still be close. Maybe we would eat together every Sunday. Maybe there would be no fights or lawyers or years of silence. But I would not be complete. I would be broken inside. I would be a shadow of myself. A woman without a voice, without power, without land. And that would have been worse than any loneliness. I learned something in these years. I learned that loving does not mean disappearing, that being a good mother does not mean being a doormat, that taking care of others does not mean forgetting yourself. I learned that sometimes the most loving decision is to say no, that sometimes defending your boundaries is the only way to keep your sanity, that sometimes people need to lose to learn, and that you are not responsible for teaching them at the cost of your own destruction. I also learned that loneliness is not always bad, that there is a difference between being alone and feeling alone. I am alone. Yes, I have no husband. My son barely comes. I have no grandchildren, but I have my land. I have my name. I have my dignity. I have beautiful sunrises. I have the song of birds. I have the smell of freshly made coffee. I have the satisfaction of knowing that I did not let myself go, that I defended myself, that I was worth it to myself, and that, believe me, is more than many women can say. If you are listening to this and you are going through something similar, if someone is taking your peace, your space, your life, if you feel guilty for setting boundaries, if you believe that saying no makes you a bad person, I want you to know something. You are not bad. You are human. And you have the right to defend yourself, to protect what is yours, to say, enough. It does not matter who it is, son, husband, family, friends. Your life is yours. Your dignity is yours. And no one, absolutely no one, has the right to take it from you. Yesterday afternoon, Michael came to visit me. He brought flowers, daisies, my favorites. Happy birthday, Mom. I had forgotten it was my birthday. Thanks, my son. We sat on the porch. We drank coffee. We ate the cake he brought from a bakery in town. We did not talk much, but it was a nice silence, a comfortable silence. Not like before, when the silence was full of things unsaid. Now it was a silence in peace. Before leaving, he hugged me. Thanks, Mom. Why? For not giving up, for teaching me there are things more important than money, for saving me from myself. I stroked his hair like when he was a boy. You are welcome, my son. But the one who saved you was you. I only saved myself. He left, and I stayed there, on my porch, on my ranch, on my land, watching the sun hide behind the mountains, painting the sky orange, pink, purple, like a watercolor, like a perfect ending for an ordinary day. This has been my story, the story I kept too long, the story I needed to tell, not to complain, not to seek pity, but so that other women know it is possible, that you can defend what is yours, that you can survive loss, that you can be strong without being mean, that you can love without losing yourself. If my story touched your heart, if something I said resonated with you, subscribe and activate the bell to listen to more stories of women who transformed their pain into wisdom. Every day, a woman, a life lesson. Share this story with someone you love. Sometimes a story like this can change a whole day. God bless you. And until next time, I am Emily Carter. I am 60 years old, and this is my land.